Hey guys, have you ever had the opportunity to just lie down and stare at the sky and look at the clouds and just admire it? And have you ever wondered what heaven would be like? Even if you've been on a plane and you've flown and you've looked at the clouds, have you thought about it and thought, hey, is this what heaven is like? Is it like being up in the clouds? Whatever it is like, I don't know, but I am looking forward to it. You know, we're told to pray in the Lord's Prayer that God's kingdom come and His will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. So we should continually pray that all the time. And we should pray that His kingdom comes and it comes quickly. This would be a great thing to see, God's kingdom. I'm looking forward to being part of it. I'm also looking forward to what we're going to cook today. Meanwhile, I might go back to just a little bit of sky gazing, and I'll see you in the kitchen in a short while. Oh, hello.
Good morning everyone. Welcome to UHK Online. And don't forget, today we're playing Spot the Mask. If you can see a mask somewhere, whether it's in the gutters, in a tree, in a bush, under my foot, maybe under a pot, or perhaps in Marie's pocket, then you need to write it down in your journal. That's right, take a note of where you see it. Because if you just send in a guess of how many times the mask appeared, we're not looking for that. We're looking for you to show us how many times and where you saw the mask. So keep your eyes peeled and you will have a lot of fun. Now let's pray. Our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done. Yes, that's what we're going to be talking about today. God's will being done. Now it's time for stamina. I want you guys to warm yourselves up, and the best way to do that is with some vigorous exercise. First of all, we're going to do mountain climbers. Mountain climbers are done like you're climbing up a mountain. So it's a really steep mountain, and you're going up with one knee, and then you're going up with the other knee, and then going up with this knee, and you're going up with the other knee. Go away, Sonny. This knee. I want you to do that 10 times. Then I want you to do 10 star jumps. You know how to do star jumps. I don't have to show you. And then some knee lunges. Oh, my favorite. A knee lunge is like this. And then like this. You don't have to make the old man noises. Do 10 of those. So we've got 10 mountain climbers, 10 star jumps, 10 knee lunges, and then you keep repeating it until 60 seconds is up. And when you're warm, come back and we are going to talk some more. Are you guys warm now? Okay then, it's time for us to go into the kitchen and we'll see what Marie has got cooking for us in the kitchen.
Well, back from my walk again, and we started the prayer and we got up to the part, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And I spoke to you already about thy kingdom come. We should be praying for it, as I said earlier, all the time. We should be praying that God's kingdom comes to earth. And it's through us obeying his will. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. If we pray that part of the prayer, we're basically saying, God, your will above my will. And that can be hard. It can be a battle of wills, because sometimes when God asks us to do something, it's different to what we want to do. And it's like when your parents ask you to do something, or somebody in authority asks you to do something, and you don't really want to do it, like turn off the TV, and you're going, I don't want to turn off the TV. Or stop playing that game, but I don't want to stop playing that game. It's a battle of wills. Your will against somebody else's will. And this is what we're praying. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God needs us to obey him so that his will can be done here on earth. And sometimes it's not so easy. Talking about easy though, I have an easy recipe again for you today. It's called the famous 100 cookie recipe. Now the reason it's the famous one is that it can go up or it can go down. We're not going to make the 100 cookie version today. We're going to make the 25 cookie version today, because I think 100 is way too many. Although this recipe is really good, because if you make the 100 version, you can freeze it before you cook it, and you can freeze it after you've cooked it, and you can make hundreds of them, so you can give away a lot if you'd like to. But I didn't have that many ingredients in my cupboard, so I'm sticking with the 25 ingredient. You can go up to 50, you can do whatever you like. I can send you out the details to go up and down in your quantities. But today it's basically really simple. You need only 125 grams of butter, and it has to be at room temperature. And you need to put it into a bowl that you can beat in, okay? So I've left mine out so that it gets soft, and it is nice, and as you can see, it's already really soft because I've left it out for a little while to get really nice and soft. So 125 grams of butter. And then I need to add to that just 1 cup of caster sugar. Put that in. And what we're going to do is we're going to beat that until it's light and fluffy and creamy, okay? I'm going to do mine in my beater, and because it's really noisy, I'm going to cut, I'm going to beat it, and then I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like when it's light and creamy. See it in 2 shapes of a lamb's tail. Okay, it is done. When we say we beat them, or beat butter and sugar together until it's light and fluffy, it gets lighter in colour and fluffy, and what we want to do is make the caster sugar. I don't know if I said it was caster sugar, but it was 125 grams of butter mixed with 1 cup of sugar, caster sugar. We beat them until they're light and fluffy. Now I'm just going to scrape down the edges, and what we need to do now is add the 3rd ingredient. And the 3rd ingredient is just condensed milk. Now you need 100 grams of condensed milk. That's about 1/3 of the can of condensed milk. So I'm just going to pour that in, and it's going to go back into the beater. Now I'm using my big beater there. You might have a Thermomix at home. You could do it in a Thermomix, or you could use a hand beater. It takes a little longer with a hand beater, and it even actually took a little while in the beater there, and that's a big powerful one. If you're going to make the 100 recipe, the 100 cookie recipe, then you'll need a big beater, because beating it by hand would be quite difficult. I'm just going to get a knife to scrape that off here
so that we've got as much of the ingredients together as possible. Now that's going to go back into the beater. And once I've actually beaten that through, we've got the condensed milk, the butter and the sugar. Once I've beaten that through, then I'm going to beat in 1 cup of flour. I'm going to cut again, I'm going to beat them and come back and show you how we're going to flavour the biscuits. Okay, so it looks like it's done. I have the flour has mixed in and the condensed milk is mixed in, and it's made a nice dough. Okay, I'm leaving it there for a second because I'm still going to add the flavouring. But as you can see, it's quite moist and it's quite sticky. If you don't like it that sticky and you want to be able to roll out a firmer dough, add some more flour. It was, did I say, self-raising flour. So we've had 125 grams of butter beaten at room temperature with caster sugar, 1 cup of caster sugar. When it was light and creamy, I added the condensed milk, 100 grams of condensed milk. When that was mixed through, it doesn't need much beating then, I added 1 cup of self-raising flour. If you were going to make the 100 cookie recipe, you'd end up using 5 cups of flour, and that's why I didn't make it, because I didn't have 5 cups of flour in the cupboard. Now, the great thing about this recipe is you can flavour it with whatever you like, and I'm going to add some suggestions at the end. You could add marshmallows, you could add chocolate chips, you could add Milo, you could add cocoa if you want a darker one. You could add, I don't know, leave it up to your imagination, sprinkles, anything. What I'm going to do is dried fruit, and I've got in here, I've got apricots, and I've chopped up the apricots, dried apricots, I love them, and I've got shredded coconut, because I love coconut flavour, and I've got macadamias, because you know macadamias are one of my favourite nuts. So I've added 3 ingredients which I'm going to put into the mixer as well. Just give it a quick mix so that it blends through, and then I'm going to drop them onto the baking trays. So I'm going to throw them in right now. Hopefully it's not too many. I don't know how much to put, oh dear, I missed how much I should or should not put in. So I'm just going to start with a little bit. So if I put too much in, it might be too much dough, not too much for the dough, okay? So I'm just going to put in a little bit to start, and it's mixing through nicely. I might actually add it all. So I've got about a cup total of the ingredients. If you're adding cocoa or something like that, you'd only add a couple of tablespoons. Alrighty, I'm just going to turn it up for a sec. Now, pulling it out. Let's have a look. It's a lot firmer now. Here we go. Scrape all that off the beater. Pull it off. And here we go. It is nice and firm. My flavourings have mixed through coconut, macadamia and dried apricots. You could come up with any combination. I was thinking chocolate chip and dried cranberries. I mean, it's up to you guys. Now, the next step is you get your baking trays. You should have sprayed or buttered the tray, and then just put a bit of baking paper on it. You need to preheat your oven. That means put your oven on early and set it at 180 degrees Celsius. Then you drop teaspoonfuls of your mixture. So I've just got a teaspoon here. And you can slightly shape it if you want to. If you want to have a go, mine's a bit sticky, but I can roll it if you don't press too hard. Now, make sure, of course, you wash your hands before you start this. Mine were clean. I had washed them before I started cooking. All right, so just a simple roll and put it down on there. Now, you need to, when you're making biscuits, you don't crowd your tray. That one came out a bit big. If you crowd your tray, they will spread because you used self-raising, and that means it will rise a bit. If you put them too close together, you'll end up with them joining, and then you just cut them up afterwards. Now, I learned when I was in cooking classes to alternate the way that I put them on the tray. So if I had 3, then I did 2 where the gaps were a little distance away. And I just keep going and I keep rolling. Now the reason I decided to do this was I went to my mum's the other day and she had these biscuits, and I thought they were delicious and they were easy. So I thought I'd make them, but what she did with her flavouring was she used jam, and what she did was she just pressed a little hole in the centre of it, and she dropped some jam in the middle, and then it spreads out when it's cooking, and you have a little lump of jam in the centre. So that's another flavouring you could have as well. All right, so I'm going to keep rolling those until the end. Now before they go in the oven, just a slight press with a fork, not completely flattened, just a slight press, just so they're not too thick and they can cook. Now I'm going to keep rolling, and then I'm going to put them into my preheated oven, which is at 180 degrees for 10 minutes. When they come out of the oven, I have to leave them on the tray for another 10 minutes before I take them off and put them onto a cooling tray. I think you're going to have fun with this. My hands are a little bit sticky. I'm going to keep rolling, and we will see you in 10 minutes or so. Well, we'll see you at the end of today to show you what these turned out like. Happy cooking. See you in a second.
What you gotta know? What you gotta know? What you gotta know? What you gotta know?
Hey there, kids. I'm Big Ray, and I'm here to tell you what you gotta know. Today, we are learning the importance of following God's plan. So anytime today you hear somebody ask you what you gotta know, you tell them, I'm gonna do my Father's will. God's got a plan for your life and my life. They are big plans. Big plans. So when you pray, make sure you pray for God's will to be done in your life. You gotta follow His plans so that you become exactly who He wants you to be. So anytime today you hear somebody ask you what you gotta know, you tell them, I'm gonna do my Father's will. And that right there is what you gotta know. This is Big Ray, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
What you gotta know?
Hey kids, what time is it?
Game time!
Hello, good morning. Hello everyone who's watching at UHK. My name is Dave, if you don't know who I am, and I'm one of the leaders here, and it is awesome to be with you this morning. I have two things that are very important for this morning's game, and we are going to play a game. But before we play the game, let's do the Lord's Prayer. So if you know it, why don't you close your eyes and pray along with me this morning. You ready? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. Amen. Amen. Right. So now that we've done the Lord's Prayer, thank you God, He's great. Now we're going to play a game. This is just a piece of paper, and as you can see there, it says Italian things. Okay, we've got a bit of an Italian theme today for our game, and what I need you to do is I just need you to get a pen, or you can use your iPad or whatever it is, and this is a pen, this isn't a pen, this is paper, but this is a pen, paper, and what I need you to do is I just need you to write down, or you can draw as many Italian things as you can think of in 60 seconds. So you have 60 seconds, write down as many things as you can. I'm gonna have a go. The lovely man behind the camera there is going to count down. He's only going to give me 20 seconds. I'm going to have a go in 20 seconds. You have a lot more time than I do. But for the sake of this demonstration, 20 seconds. You ready? Count me down. I'm going to do as many Italian things as I can. Go.
20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14,
I've
13,
forgotten.
12, 11, 10,
It's Italian.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, look. I am almost certain that you're going to be able to beat me because I've only got 3 things and one of them is technically not Italian. I wrote pizza, I wrote pasta, and I wrote sauce. So I don't think sauce originated in Italy. It might have, maybe a certain type of sauce. But anyway, this is what you have to do. Italian things, write down as many Italian things as you can. You have 1 minute. You have 60 seconds. Do your best. You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, well, let us know how you went. I hope, in fact, I'm pretty certain that you would have done a lot better than how I went just then in that challenge. I hope you did well. Why don't you let us know? You can get mum and dad to send in your results to Marie, or just give yourself a pat on the back because you know that you did better than 2.5, and I know that you did. So let's hear what God has in store for us today.
I'm Peyton, and I'm going to be continuing the series called Teach Us to Pray. Have you ever thought about what you want to be whenever you grow up? Some of you have already planned it all out. Maybe you want to be a firefighter.
Oh, you think you bad now, huh? Come on, you ain't nothing but a red-headed twig. Come on, I'm gonna treat you like a birthday candle and blow you out.
Not that kind of firefighter. I'm talking about a real firefighter. One that works hard at saving lives. Or maybe you want to be a professional dancer. Not quite what I had in mind. I'm talking about this kind of professional dancer. Or maybe you've always dreamed of being a scientist.
Welcome to my laboratory. That's a laboratory for you simple people. That's where scientists work. We're about to do a little experiment. I'm gonna take this red chemical and I'm gonna mix it with the blue chemical. You're gonna be amazed at what's about to happen. Here we go.
Wow, that's dangerous. I was thinking more of a scientist like this. Or maybe you've dreamed of being a teacher, a pastor, or a missionary. We all have plans for our lives, but the most important plan of all is God's plan. You see, if we want to succeed, it's not about our plan or our will for our life. It's about God's plan and God's will for our life. And that is the next part of the Lord's Prayer that we're going to be talking about. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. This means we have to do our very best to fulfill God's will and His plan for our lives. It's a choice we have to make, but it's an easy choice. Why? Because we know that God's will is better for us. It's a no-brainer. For example, if I were to give you the choice of cake or broccoli, which one would you choose?
Boy, oh boy, I sure love me some cake. I like the sprinkles, I like the icing, I even like the smell of it. You have got to be kidding me.
Or would you choose a hug from your mom or a slap in the face?
I'm trying to think here, which one of them would I choose? Hey, how you doing, buddy? Ow, mommy! Mommy! That man slapped me.
Of course you would choose a hug from your mom. It's a no-brainer. In our lives, we should decide, should we choose our will or God's will? It's a no-brainer. We should choose God's will. God's plan is always better. Sometimes our plans match with His. Other times, ours don't. But one thing's for sure, God's plan is always best. Well, it's time for you to get into your lesson today as you learn about the Lord's Prayer and how to seek God's will. This is Peyton reminding you, you can pray every single day. See ya!
So today's Bible story is found in 1 Samuel chapter 3, and it tells us all about a young boy named Samuel. Now Samuel was a boy who lived and worked in the temple for the priest Eli. Can you imagine actually living in the church? I wish we could actually visit the church at the moment, but how cool would that be? Just staying at church. So on a Sunday morning, you didn't have to get up and get ready and go to church. You were already there. How great is that? Well, it wouldn't be the same for Samuel as it might be for you guys today at church. You see, in Samuel's day, there weren't any games to play at kids' church or at church. There was nothing like that. In fact, it was actually a lot of work for him as he served the priest. He was like the priest's personal attendant. Well, one night after a long day of working in the church, Samuel was sleeping, when suddenly he was awakened by the sound of someone calling his name. Samuel! He assumed it was the prophet Eli calling him. So Samuel got up and went into Eli's room, and he asked him what he wanted. Eli said, "I didn't call you. Go back to bed." Samuel wasn't sure what had happened, so he went back to bed. But a little while later, Samuel was awakened by the same thing. A voice called to him, "Samuel!" He got up and went back to Eli. Once again, Eli said, "I didn't call you. Go back to bed." So Samuel went back to sleep, and guess what? It happened again. "Samuel!" So once again, Samuel went to Eli. This time, Eli had a thought. He knew it wasn't him that was calling Samuel. He thought, maybe it could be God. And he told Samuel, "It's God calling you. If he speaks again, say this, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went back to sleep, and sure enough, it happened again. "Samuel!" And this time, Samuel sat up in bed and said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." And God began to tell Samuel something very important, some very important things that were about to happen. Now, isn't that amazing? What sort of dream would you think that would be like? It would be like you're dreaming, but it was for real. Samuel had to not only listen to God's voice, but he also had to obey. It turns out that God told him to do something that was very difficult for Samuel. Samuel was not really wanting to do it, but he knew he had to obey God. He knew that God's will had to be done, so Samuel obeyed. I want you to read that this week, guys, and find out what it was that God was asking him, because, you know, sometimes it might be great to hear from God, but sometimes it's not exactly what we want to hear. So in our lesson today, we're going to learn about how you must listen to God, but you've also got to obey his voice. You always need to seek to follow God's will and not your own. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it.
Voila! It is I, the amazing master illusionist and prestidigit. magic guy, Presto Changeo. I'm here to razzle dazzle your senses and boggle your mind. Nothing up here, nothing up here, and nothing up here. Today is something very especially, special. Yes, I'm going to teach you the power verse. Today's power verse says, Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Matthew 6:10. Ha ha! What an amazing power verse, boys and girls. But just like I do in my sold out shows all over the world, really in my living room with my grandma, I'm going to make things poof disappear right before your very eyes. I will make words for the power verse disappear with the help of my handy dandy sidekick. Hocus Pocus, I'm so glad you are here. You will be helping us with this mind-blowing disappearing trick. Hokey, say hello.
The name is Hocus Pocus. Not hokey, not pokey. Oh, whatever. Let's just get on with the power verse.
Yes, let's take a look at it. Now, which words should I make disappear? How about this one? This one! And this one! Ha ha! Now let's see how well you remember it. Kids, you are going to say the power verse again with Hokey.
It's Hocus Pocus.
You're going to say the power verse on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Matthew 6:10.
Ha! That was pretty amazing. You were able to say the power words with the disappearing words. But prepare to be amazed. I'm going to make even more words disappear before your very eyes. Like this one. And this one. Okay. You said it once with the disappearing words, but let's try it again.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Matthew 6:10.
Beautiful job. Thank you, children, and Hocus Pocus.
You are so welcome.
And now, for my greatest trick of all time, I'm going to make myself disappear. This is Presto Changeo saying, now you see me, now you don't. Brutta, zutta, zoot!
We've been learning about God's will in our lives, what God wants for us. But the question is how? How do we make sure that we are following God's will? That is what we're going to continue on with right now. The first thing we have to do is get rid of our own wills. If we really want to do God's will, like the Lord's Prayer says, then we first have to decide that our will doesn't matter. Only God's will matters. Now, there's nothing wrong with having dreams and having plans. We all should have them. But we can't be so committed to our own dreams and our own plans that we're not willing to do God's will and plan for us. Jesus understood this. Do you remember when Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane before he died? We find the story in Mark 14 if you want to check that out. It's only minutes before Jesus is about to be arrested and put to death. He knew what was going to happen. Did Jesus want to die? No. He asked God, if it's possible, please let this cup pass from me. In other words, what Jesus was saying is, if there's any way possible, please find another way to bring forgiveness to the world. He wasn't excited about dying, but he said to God, even so, I want your will, not mine. Jesus knew he had to get rid of his own will for God's will to be done. And it's the same for us. If we hold on to our plans for our lives, then we will never truly embrace God's plan for our lives. We have to get rid of our plan so we can embrace God's plan. It's not easy, but it's worth it. So I know some of you are saying, but how do I hear God's voice? Well, you must listen to his voice. And the way you listen to his voice is by giving him time. Spend time with God in prayer and thinking about God. You're probably thinking, but does he actually speak to kids? Well, rewind a little bit. We spoke about Samuel and he was just a kid. If we take time to listen, God will speak. He may not speak out loud. Many times he speaks in a very still, small voice that we hear in our hearts and our minds. It's a feeling sometimes. That's the Holy Spirit prompting us. But if we are quiet and if we quieten ourselves down and listen, we will hear him loud and clearly. He will point us, he will direct us. So if I want to do God's will, I must get rid of my own will and listen to God's voice. And then, once I've heard it, I must obey God's instructions. Samuel understood this. God told Samuel about some very bad things that were going to happen to Eli and Eli's sons. Samuel's job was to deliver the message, but he didn't want to because he thought Eli would be actually upset with him. Even though it was hard, Samuel obeyed and told Eli the message that God had given him. In the same way, Jesus obeyed God and was willing to die on the cross. You must be willing to obey God and do whatever he asks you to do. It may not always be easy to do God's will, but you will always know that his will turn out to be the best for you always. Samuel went on to become a prophet of Israel. Jesus died, but then he rose again from the grave. When we obey God's will, great things happen. We must listen and obey. We've been focusing in on the second part of Matthew 6:10. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. For God's will to be done on earth, it needs you to listen to his voice and you to obey his voice and you acting on what he wants done. And it requires me to do the same as well. I need to listen and I need to act on it and obey God's will for my life. When we all do this, then God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Guys, let's pray and ask God to show us his will. Heavenly Father, we thank you that you do have a plan for this world and it is a good plan and you have a good plan for each person. Father, we surrender everything over to you and we pray that you will direct us. Your Holy Spirit will prompt us so we can hear your voice, and not only hear your voice, we obey your voice, particularly with the big decisions in our life. Help us listen, we ask, in Jesus' name. And everybody said, Amen.
Rewind!
Okay, I hope you've been listening carefully because that's a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about today, listening. And hopefully you listen to God this week. But my first question is, according to our lesson today, we must get rid of what? Do we get rid of other people, get rid of my will, or get rid of water balloons? And the answer is simple, isn't it? Other people. I mean, my will. We've got to get rid of my will. So another important thing we learnt was if we want to do God's will, we must what? Listen to your own voice, listen to my voice, or listen to God's voice. And the answer is we've got to listen to God's voice. That is the most important voice we could ever listen to. Another thing we learnt today was we must follow God's instructions, we must hear God's instructions, or we must obey God's instructions. And the answer is we should follow his instructions, we should hear his instructions, but it's really important to obey his instructions. So I want to encourage you guys that this week take time out to listen to God. And not just this week, make it a lifelong thing where you take time at the end of the day, at the beginning of your day, somewhere in your day, to give God some time to talk to you. Just be quiet and listen.
All right, well, we are coming into our time. We're going to do offering. We have the challenge for you guys, and we have a little bit of news. But firstly, I want to talk about offering today. Today's letter is a letter I for impact. And with impact, you can change people's lives. And with our offering, what we are saving our money for is Vince Borromeo in Italy, who is influencing and having impact on a lot of people. And the reason why we give money to people like Vince, if you want to know why we do that, is because in the Bible, in Matthew 28 verse 19, Jesus says to go and make disciples in all nations, in every country, teaching them in the ways that they should go so that they can obey my law. And so that is why we give in our offering. And we're giving to Vince so that Vince can have huge and even bigger and bigger and bigger impact on all of the people that he is meeting in Italy. So that's why we're giving in our offering. Why don't you put some money aside for when we come back together and we meet together so that you can give to what Vince is doing. It's awesome. The next thing is there was a bit of a challenge today. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but there is something here, which is a face mask, which I'm not going to put on because otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear what I'm saying really. But you would have seen throughout today's lesson, these were all over in the background. There might have been one over here, one over here, one over there, one over there, and you might have seen it around. And what you have to do is try and find out as many times you could see the mask in a different spot throughout today's lesson. And why don't you write that down and let us know. And you might even get a prize. If you let us know, get mum and dad to send in your result to Marie, you might win something. So who knows? Let us know how many times you saw these masks. And I know there was a few of them. Thank you very much. All right, so next week, we have something else that we want you guys to be a part of, and I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. So what you need, it's very small, but what you need is, you know, like the little pasta, the little macaroni. Have you ever had mac and cheese? I love mac and cheese. And if you ever had mac and cheese, little macaronis that they use for, hence why it's called mac and cheese. You get yourself a few macaronis, little hard pasta, and you're going to need them next week. So make sure that you don't forget to bring that along for next week's lesson. And there is another challenge for you guys. It is the COVID shake dance. Now here's what you need to do. You got to dress up in costume, dress up in something that looks crazy, really funny, whatever you want to dress up in the costume and copy the dances that you see at the end. There'll be a bit of music playing, a bit of something for you to look at, and we need to see your best dance moves. If you can throw a dab in, extra points from me. That's what I have to say. But if you film yourself doing that dance and send it in to marie@unihillchurch.com.au, get mum and dad to film you having a bit of a dance, you might make it into one of our lessons one week. We might be able to put one of you into the lesson so everyone can see how good your dance moves are. So why don't you get dancing, show us your best moves and send it in to us. And we hope that you have an awesome rest of your week. See you later.
It's a safe place, and
evening! Welcome to my study. I suppose you're wondering why I've called you all here. It is because it is time to decide who has won Spot the Mask. And for this week, we have received several correct entries. So from among them, I am going to choose the correct entry. Or actually, I will ask my lovely assistant to choose for me. Dale, will you please choose one? I certainly, of course I will. No cheating. I have one and it feels like a winner. It is Jai. Take a bow, Jai. You have won the mask challenge for this week. Make sure you are ready to receive your prize.
Hi Marie, we've just watched the whole kids church and we found the mask. So one was in the barbecue, one was in a bush, one was on your door handle, one was on your chalkboard, one was on your face, and one was on the recipe book. So, and I'm pretty sure they're all 1 point. Sorry, see ya. Bye.
Okay, I got them out of the oven, and you know what, guys? I actually rolled 35 biscuits, not 25. So you get quite a few out of it, so you can afford to make them a little larger. Now, I wasn't so careful with my last batch, and as you can see, they're joined together, but you can break them apart once you take them off the tray. These ones have been resting for 10 minutes on the tray. When they come out of the oven, let me warn you, they are really, really soft. And you think they're not done, but they will harden as they cool down. And then once they cool down, they're really simple to get off. I'm going to leave them to cool. As you see here, they all got joined together. I can have all, and as I said, they break apart really easily too. So these ones were done a little bit darker. I don't know how you like your biscuits, whether you like them dark. Dale likes them dark, so I've done a few darker. And I have a lot here that were very light. But I can't wait until these ones have cooled down. Then after lunch, I'm going to have a little snack. These will be great for afternoon tea, morning tea, sharing. I hope you enjoy them, however. What I want you to do is take a picture of your end result. Tell me what flavourings you used. I would love to know how you flavoured your cookies. And as I said, if you choose to make the 100, what you can do is freeze batches of it and then cook them at a later date. You can put them in an airtight container for about 3 months in the freezer and then make them. So it's worthwhile making a big batch all at once, make your mess all at once, and then all you have to do is cook them in the end. At the moment, that's all I've got. I don't know if we've got anybody that's cooked anything today, but if we don't, what's coming up next is the recipe, and take notes, send them to me at marie@unihillchurch.com.au. Happy cooking, guys, and have a great week.